if you're a solopreneur who is earning less than 2,000 per month and you're selling your offer at one price, then you're silently slicing your conversions into half. And it's not because your prices are too high. It's never because people can't get to afford you, but it is because you're forcing yourself a dangerous decision. And this decision is a yes or a no. And in most cases, these yeses and no decisions tend to be fragile. So let me get to show you the one mistake that most of y'all early solopreneurs get to make, especially if you're making under 2,000. This flowchart is going to represent exactly the mistake that you guys get to make. Yeah. So for most of you earning under 2,000 per month, yeah, suppose you start by stating your price, yeah, and you say, I get to charge 2,000, yeah. So you're charging 2,000, okay. Now, when you charge 2,000, you're going to pass this on to your clients, yeah. So 2,000, that is what is it that you're going to say to your clients. Now, what gets to happen when you present this to your client, you get to force them to make a decision. Yeah, remember, it's just one price, just one option. So in their minds, they get to be faced with a difficulty of making a decision. What kind of decision? It is going to be a yes or a no decision. And that is what we saw. A no, then they walk away, or a yes, where they get to buy your offer. Yeah. But in most cases, this yes and no decision, yeah, is going to create what we call pressure. And when clients are faced by this tough decision of saying yes or no to any offer that is presented to them, it is going to create pressure. And guess what gets to happen? If clients are faced by a hard decision or pressure, they are going to default to safety. Yeah. So this is it. You state your one price, you pass it over to your clients. Now you leave them with a dangerous decision of saying either a yes or a no. Yeah. And this yes and no decision, most cases, is fragile. And what it does, it creates pressure onto these clients. And when these clients are under pressure, they get to default to safety. And guess what safety means? To your clients, safety means I'll think about it. That is what they'll tell you. The second thing they'll get to tell you because of safety is that maybe later, or they'll get to say not right now. So those are the three statements that are going to happen if at all you force your clients or sell your offer on one price. Yeah. Now, without other way, yeah, you're going to lose because when a client walks away, that means your 2,000 offer is not going to work out. Yeah. And that gets you back in the loop of earning less than 2,000. Okay. So the fact that you've lost that sale, it is not because of your price of charging 2,000, but it is because you lacked structure. Put differently, you didn't lose because of price, but you lost because of structure. You lacked a proper way to structure your offer. Now, here's a part that nobody gets to talk about. When you present someone with one option, they start comparing it. Comparing it with what? They start comparing it with keeping their money. Now your offer gets to start competing against one zeros. Yeah. Because if someone chooses to keep their money, it means they are spending zero. So you start competing against zero spending. You start competing against zero change because when they don't buy, nothing gets to change. Yeah. You start competing against zero commitment because if they don't get to buy offer, how are they even going to commit? Yeah. So the worst case scenario, you even start competing against zero risks. Yeah. And when clients don't get to spend their money, that means there's no risk that they're going to face. Okay. That is simple. And something that is so truthful about the zeros is that it is always going to feel like safety. And now, if you're wondering how do you get to flip all this, what it is that big companies get to use in order to avoid such option. Now, let me present you with a psychological framework that big companies or big high converting businesses get to apply. Big companies don't get to sell one option, but instead they get to sell structured choices. Why do they get to sell structured choices? It is because structured choices will always get to create control. They always get to create control for them as a business. They always get to create control for you, the person who is going to be buying from them. And in most cases, it is this control that is going to increase their conversions. Now, a new question might pop up. How do I even get to create this control? Well, the easy and simplest answer you're going to ever apply is you're going to start introducing yourself tiers. Why tires? When you get to introduce tires, you start introducing what we call comparison shifts. Now your clients are not going to start comparing your offer or comparing your price with just zeros as the only option available, but it is going to create other alternative options that they are going to start comparing it with. For instance, they'll stop deciding between either they go for your 2000 offer or not spend anything, that is zero, and then start thinking of it or comparing your 2000 with other available options that you've created in the tiers that you've introduced. Now, how do you get to create offers? I'm going to tell you that in a minute, but there's only one rule that you need to understand before you even start thinking of creating offers. And that rule is quite simple. And it goes like this. You don't randomly create packages, but you create packages based on speed, based on access, based on involvement. Anything other than that, don't get to create packages for that. Yeah. So put differently, faster help will always equal to higher money or higher prices. More access will always have to equal to higher prices. And then more involvement or direct involvement will always have to equal to more money. So that is what I get to mean. Now to the part that most of you all have been waiting. How do I get to create tires for my business? I'm tired of earning less than 2000. I'm tired of seeing people saying, I'll think about it, maybe later, maybe not right now. Now here's how we're going to do it. By the way, if you're finding this video helpful, please consider hitting the like button. Yeah, smash the like button. And while at it, don't forget to subscribe. Now, for one, we're going to first think of an offer. Okay. So what kind of offer? For now, I'm going to think of mine. I'm going to use myself as an example. I'm into this consultation kind of business niche, yeah, where I help solopreneurs get to price with confidence, clarity, and control. Yeah. So I would say that I get to charge 2000 just for that. Yeah. And as we saw, charging 2000 as my only price is going to slice my offer. It's not going to help me do anything. It's not going to help me achieve anything. Why? Because we saw earlier that if I get to present only this one option, I'm creating higher chances of slicing my conversions, and I'm forcing a dangerous decision, which is the most fragile decision that people are going to now start thinking, should I get to taking this offer? Should I not taking this offer? And they'll choose to walk away. Okay. So the right way would be, if you're helping businesses with clarity, whatever, put in your offer, all right? What you're going to do, you're going to start introducing packages, yeah? And remember the rule we said, all your packages should be created based on access. So let me write this. All your rules should be created based on access, speed, and involvement. So your tires should be created based on these three, yeah? So now, you're going to think of your offer and say, how do I get to increase, or what does access look like for me? Yeah. To some, it could be access would be that I'll be with you one time a week. Yeah. To others, more access would be like maybe 2 times a week. And others, more access would be like 4 times a week. Okay. So if we're to think of it like in terms of access, yeah, then I would create packages, 3 packages. Package 1, package 2, and package 3. Yeah. And remember, we are creating this kind of tire in terms of access. Yeah. So we said more access means more money. Less access means less money. Yeah. So that is the rule we're following. So this will be, I get to show up once a month. Yeah. This is the lower tire or tire 1. Yeah. And then the mid tire will be, I get to show up 2 times a month. And then intensive tire would be, I get to show up 4 times a month. Yeah. So that is it. Yeah. So the more times or the more number of times you get to show up to your clients is the more money you get to charge. Yeah. So using our example, if you charge 2000, yeah, suppose that will be your premium, yeah, because you want to earn 2000, you want to break that barrier. Yeah. You would say, as for the lower tire, don't be afraid of me charging 2000, but I'm going to simplify things. So we'll say, I'll get to charge you $20 and we meet once a month. That is simple. That will be my lower tire one. Yeah. As for my mid tire, I would say I'll get to charge you $400, and we meet twice a month. And as for my premium tire or my intensive tire, I'll be charging maybe $2,000. Yeah, or maybe one $1,500. Yeah, as simple as that. Now I've created myself tires. Yeah, so I've created more options for my clients to think about. If my 2,000 is too high, or if my 2,000 is too high for the prices I'm asking, then they'll get to think, what other alternative do I get to have if I want to work with Alan? Other alternatives would be I either spend $20 and I work with him, or I either spend $400 and I work with him like 2 times a month. Yeah. Or if I want to have him like more of him, I get to spend 1,000. If we do the math and we get about 100 clients and each one is paying $20 for our load tires, we have 2,000. Yeah. And we've already achieved our target. If that's not the case, if we get about 10 clients, yeah, that we meet twice a month and each one is paying 400, that means we have about 4,000. Yeah. In price. We've even broken the cost that we had to target. All right. And now, here, if we get about maybe 2 clients, each one paying, let's go for the minimum of 1,500, we're going to have 3,000. Yeah. USDs. Yeah. And this is even more. Yeah. So if you're out there, stop charging one price. And I've only used access. Yeah. It's the same thing with speed. Whoever wants faster access, they get to pay more. Moderate access, they get to pay a moderate amount of fee. And when it comes to, you know, less access, yeah. And most of you might be shocked and wondering, what is it that I even get to put in this access? Yeah. Say, suppose I use involvement as this as an example for this. Yeah. The way I'll be involved in our lowest tier would be I would start by saying, "Oh, I'll not always be with you, but you'll always have access to my PDFs. Yeah, you'll have access to my recordings. You'll get to have access to my what are they called, templates. Huh? As simple as that. So your $20, you'll have access to all my PDFs, all my books. And speaking of books, by the way, guys, I wrote my book, Price It Right. Yeah, it is going to help you if at all you find pricing so hard. If you stumble along the way when clients get to ask you, what's the price? And then midway the sentence, you break and crack. This is a book that is going to help you. Grab it. I'll be linking it in the description. Yeah, so it will help you. But yeah, that's it. So that is worth $20. Too much value for this price. Now, for those of you who say, I have clients that want to pay some moderate amount of money, what is it that I get to charge? Or what is it that I get to give them? Yeah. Say here I would say I'll get to do one-on-one calls. Yeah. The 2 times we'll be meeting. I interact with you. You ask me questions, I respond directly. All right. Then I'll get to give you direct feedback. Yeah. Because now I have you. All right. So every time you ask me a direct question, expect direct feedback. I get to look through your offers, critique them, give you ways of how to improve, and then you put it into action. Okay. And then I'll get to do faster turnovers. Yeah. Because I'm giving one-on-one with you, the turnovers are going to be fast. What kind of turnovers? You'll be faced with a different problem. Yeah. And I'll give you a solution that I believe is going to turn things over so that you increase on whatever problem that brings you to this session. Okay. And then um maybe the other advantage of this, you'll have more access to me because you'll have me 2 times a week, which isn't the case with this one. All right. And now for this other one, the intensive. Now here things get to be fancier. Yeah. I can get to do it 2 ways. Yeah. I can do a do it for you service. Yeah. You bring your offer, I do it for you, crack it for you so that you save yourself the hassle and the time. Yeah. Or we can do a do it with you. Yeah. I and you sit down, we execute together from start to the end. Yeah. For all the 4 times. Yeah. You bring your offer, we critique it, make improvements, you go test it in the market. Actually, we go test it in the market. We come back, make further adjustments, take it back in the market together, me and you. That is the do it with you. Yeah. In other cases, you might say, I don't have that time. Why don't you just do it for me? Yeah. So there, I get to charge you. I do it for you. I get your idea, create for you an offer, put it in the market, test it myself, get proof that it works, then I can give it back to you. Yeah. So with this one, you might find me charging 2,000. With this one, you might find me charging 1,500. Yeah. So you see how these get to govern the rules or get to govern the creation of tires. Yeah. So that is how you create tires. Now, some of you might be thinking, if I get to add a smaller tire, it is going to cheapen my positioning. Tell you what, that is a false thing you'll ever get to think. It's in fact a myth. Adding a cheaper tire does not get to cheapen your positioning, but instead it anchors your positioning. Just as we've seen. Remember, we say if you only had one price offer, that is 2,000, it is going to be hard for clients to, start comparing your offer with other options. Yeah. But now, if you find clients that don't want to go for your 2,000 offer package and they want to try other alternatives, this cheaper option is going to be the anchor. Yeah. So they'll say, I wouldn't want to just have PDFs. I wouldn't want to have just recordings, or I wouldn't want to just have templates. I would want to have more access to you. So what is it that I get to do? They get to pay the 4,000, the 400, or they get to pay the intensive, price, which is 1,500 or 2,000, meaning that having the lower tire is going to help you anchor, yeah, your prices, yeah. And in either ways, it is always going to be you who is going to benefit, not anyone else, yeah. The other thing is that having a lower tire is going to help you earn quick money, yeah, from your assets. Yeah. What kind of assets? For instance, this book, it is done once, written once, but put on the market forever. Yeah. So whoever wants to access it, they get to pay the $20 to have access to it. Yeah. They get to have recordings. They get to have, PDF. They get to have templates. Yeah. So those templates keep making money for you from those lower tiers, because you're not going to charge 2,000 and tell someone that I'm going to just give you recordings, templates, and what? No, that is not how things work. So it is always wise for you to have those lower tiers. So far, if you're finding value, please consider hitting the like button and don't forget to subscribe. Okay. So now here's a question I have for you. And it goes like this. If someone approached you and said, I can't afford your one price offer, would you rather let that person go, or would you rather have yourself charge them something small? Just leave your answers in the comments. But personally, I wouldn't just let that person go. I would try and lead them, lead them through my various tiers, lead them through my various offers, and they get to find a sweet spot that would serve them, because they are potential clients. Maybe with time they get to have value, from which that value they'll get back to me and join in with my higher or premium or high intensive prices. Okay. Now here's what I want you to do from now on. Think of what it is that you're offering. The example I used, I hope solopreneurs get to charge and price their goods with confidence, clarity, and control. So, what is it that you're trying to offer? Think of that. And then get to ask yourself these 3 questions based on the golden rule. What does limited access look like? That is one. The second question would be, what does great support look like? Yeah. And then finally, what does high touch look like? Yeah. Because when you get to answer those questions based on the 3 golden rule of where access, speed, and involvement get to take action, then you're going to create yourself 3 levels. And it's going to help you never to discount, but just to create a pure structure. Because Because when you create structure, you don't get to reduce your prices, but instead you get to increase your conversions. And that is the goal that you want to have. With more conversion, it will lead to more sales. All right. So, so if you're really serious about increasing your prices in the next 30 days, then comment interested and I'll reach out to you and I'll add you in our 7-day sprint raising price challenges that we are going to be running. That being said, I'll get to see you in the next one.